Okay, guys, we're doing 1-2 today, and this is on points, lines, and planes. I'm just doing the first part of these notes in this video. There'll be a video following after this that has the second part of the notes. So while you are getting prepared for this, let's take a minute, stop by yourself. I want you to try 1, 2, and 3 of the review. So try this section right here. Pause the video, pause yourself, try it. Okay, you should come back now. If you're not done, pause it, finish it. Okay, which does the first net go to in column B? Does it go to the first one, the pyramid? Does it go to the second one, the rectangular prism? Or does it go to the last one, the cylinder? Ooh. Cylinder. The net for number 1 goes with the pyramid. All of its sides connect at a point and they're all triangles. Number 2 goes with the cylinder. It's the only one with circles on it, and cylinder is the only option with circles. That leaves the last one has to go to the rectangular prism, and that is very similar to all of the examples we did in lesson 1-1. If that does not look familiar to you, please go back to lesson 1-1 and review those types of nets. All right, now we're gonna do some vocab. This first vocab word's not really connected with the other ones, but we're gonna review it really quick because this is a word that you may see in directions, and I wanna make sure that we're on the same page with it. So this word is conjecture. Conjecture, it means a guess or a prediction, and it can be a noun or a verb depending on how it is used. Now we have many words for guess or prediction. What's the word we use in science for guess and prediction? Hypothesis. Hypothesis. So we just use the word conjecture in math. They both mean the same, hypothesis, conjecture. They're just what we use in different disciplines to talk about guesses or predictions. It's also, by definition, it's a conclusion reached by inductive reasoning. So it's what we do to guess. Okay, I'm not an English teacher, but we're going to try this really quick. So I want you to read through these final 3 sentences on this page, and I want you to identify whether conjecture is being used as a noun or a verb in each one. So pause, try it. Come back. If you haven't finished, pause it for real. Okay, now that you've paused it, now that you've returned because you finished it. The first one says you make a conjecture that your volleyball team will win. Noun or verb? This one's a noun. You make, the doing is the make, and then a really easy way to tell is this one has a article in front of it. Articles are a and the. So a conjecture says that it's a noun. A guess, a prediction. A means noun. Number 5, assuming that your sister ate the last cookie is a conjecture. Using our same logic, this would also be a noun. Assuming, or sorry, is the verb, assuming that your sister blah, blah, blah is the noun, and then conjecture in both cases is a direct object. I think. It's been a while since I've taken grammar, so take that with a grain of salt. All I know is that it's a noun. The last one says you conjecture that your town will build a swimming pool. You conjecture that. The doing, the verb, the ing, is a conjecturing. That's my verb. Okay? That's not a make or break it on this lesson. If you had a hard time with that, we can talk outside of class. It's not that big of a deal. But I do want you to be familiar seeing the word conjecture either as a noun or as a verb. Now we're going to do some much more math-based vocabulary words. These are super, super, super important. You cannot blow this part of the lesson off. You cannot blow this part of the year off. We come back to points, line, planes all year. And it is so important and so imperative at the beginning of the year that we understand what they mean, that we practice them, that we keep talking through them. And you will get so sick of hearing me say point, lines, and planes, but it is so important that we know these words and that we use them correctly and that we are able to, we're going to use them in postulates coming up, and I'll tell you what a postulate is in the next video. But I'm just giving you a quick introduction, about what these words are. So this first one, when you see a dot with a letter over it, we call that a point. Point. A point is a dot. It's not infinite. It's one special point, one special place. and we use a letter to represent, or to name it, I guess. So we can't have a bunch of different points on the page. If I've got all of these points, and if I ask you about one of them, but I don't tell you what its name is, and you don't know what I'm talking about. So we got to make sure that we have names on all of these: D, E, F, G, H, A, K, M, Z, whatever, because then I'm able to talk and we're able to communicate. We know what's going on because we have names for all of them. So that's why I have an A over here. This is its name, or another way to think about it is its notation. So if you see just one single letter with nothing else, that's just a point. The next word is a line. A line has to have at least 2 points, and it's named by at least 2 of those points. So this has A and B on it, so we call it AB, and we put a physical line over it. So a straight line with arrows on both sides. The arrows are super important. That means that it goes on infinitely. It's infinite. Think of it like a cord or like a string. It doesn't go out, it has no width, but it goes on and on forever in its like direction that it's going. Another way to name it, do you see this little curly L? If you use a cursive L, that's also names the line. A lot of times the textbook uses cursive L or M or K or Q or H, I don't know. And if they write that, then we can use that. Most of the time we don't physically write that ourselves, and you probably won't name a lot of lines using cursive letters, but if it's there, cursive L and AB are the same line. You do not need a hat of a line on that one. That's good as it is. This third one is plane. We spell it more like an airplane, not like the Great Plains. And then this is, I think, the hardest one to get a hang of. Plane is it's like a piece of paper. So it has no width. It's just flat, but it's like if the piece of paper went on and on in all directions forever and forever. Forever and forever, flat. Another way to think of it, like the floor is a plane, the ceiling is a plane, the whiteboard's a plane, your desktop is a plane. I'll get more into these as we have postulates and we have more things that we're building off of them, but think of a plane kind of like a piece of paper. It's flat, but it goes on and on forever. I can't draw arrows on like a rectangle like this, so a weird rectangle that's at like kind of an angle, it looks a little rhombusy, I guess. This is what we call a plane, and it's infinite as well. Again, hard to put in your brain, but we'll work on it as we do more with it. You name a plane either by the one letter that doesn't have a point with it. So do you see how P does not have a point, no dot with it? That's there to simply name the plane. It's plane P, plane P. Or you can name it with 3 of the points that are in the plane. So I see the points A, B, C. I can call this plane A, B, C. You could also call it a different, scrambling of that. You could call it CBA, you could call it BAC. I do not care. Just those 3 letters are all points in the plane, so that works. We'll do more specifics later. These 3, let me have a pencil. There we go. These 3 terms, point, line, plane, these are my 3 undefined terms of geometry. Undefined means there's no definition, which is why it was kind of like ugly as I was trying to explain it to you, because we don't have a definition. They are undefined terms, but they make up all the other pieces that we use in geometry. So again, as we do postulates, which are at the bottom of this page, we're not going to get to those today. As we get to that in the next video, you will see how they make up of each other and how we use them to kind of describe other things. The last 3 are words that we should know. The first one with 2 endpoints is a segment. So a segment ends. It's a line that ends. It stops. These are endpoints. End points. And it ends or it stops. And we notate it using the 2 letters that are its endpoints, and we just put a hat that's just a straight line. No arrows, no nothing. No arrows. 0 arrows. No arrows. Let me try and spell a little bit nicer. There we go. No arrows. Okay. The next one has 1 endpoint and 1 arrow. That makes it a ray. A is the end point. Even though it's the first point you see, it can still be the end point because it stops at A. It goes on and on forever at B. It has the arrow, so that means it's infinite. Infinite. Sorry, if you're new to my class, I'm not super neat writing. I'll do better, but it is not looking so good today, and I am so sorry. Infinite. Okay. Your notation reflects that as well. So A is the end point, A is written first. B is the one that goes forever with the arrow, B is the one with the arrow over it. Now, I can draw a completely different ray using these same points, but I can go from B to A. My end point in this case is B. The point that I'm going towards forever is A, so I'm going to draw my arrow towards A. I like my arrow to always be on the right side. As long as your arrow goes over the side that the arrow is going towards, it doesn't matter. But I think it's easier to have the arrows going in the same direction. That helps me keep my thoughts straight, but it's not incorrect to do it the other way. These two, this and this, are two different rays. They are not the same. They're not equal. And we'll dig a little deeper into that next video. The last one you may not have heard of. I think that segment and rays are things that you've maybe heard of in elementary school. The last one are opposite rays, which are just rays that go in opposite directions. I'm going to keep the notation on this one because that's what helps it stay organized in my head at least. CA starts at C and then goes to A. CB starts at C, goes to B. The only thing that overlapped was the physical point C. Only overlap at C. Nothing else. There were no other segments. There was nothing else. It was only one single point C. And then it goes in opposite directions. Essentially, it makes a line. I don't know if you guys learned about clocks in elementary school, like back in like the second grade, but like this looks like a clock. This is not opposite rays because it does not make a straight line. They are not in exact opposite directions. If I wanted to make an opposite ray, I'd have to do something like this where I can make that one complete line when I'm done. Okay, this is where we stopped in all of our classes today. This is it for right now. This is the end of this video. The next video, we will finish these notes and talk more about point, line, plan, and all of these pieces. If you have any questions, please let me know. If not, have a good rest of your day. Enjoy. Oh, let's stop recording.